In Term 3 of 2024, we had the life-changing privilege of attending the Into the Heart immersion that was led by the Edmund Rice Foundation Australia. The aim of the immersion was to take members of various Edmund Rice schools into the heart of some of their projects in Kenya and Uganda, so that a deeper connection could be established between our school communities and the communities that they serve.
An immersion is a powerful strategy in helping us understand and involve ourselves in Jesus' mission. Through the immersion experience, we come face to face with local people and recognize them as our sisters and brothers. We empathize with them and share their daily joys and sorrows, celebrating their richness and gifts, and feeling for their pain. It is a journey of accompaniment and encounter.
Guided throughout the experience by critical and prayerful questioning, we recognise that we are involved in and share responsibility for their reality in this global society. While in Africa, we were asked to be warriors of a different narrative and to share with you their stories. Stories from the heart.
One cannot find the necessary words to adequately convey the indescribable suffering that we witnessed on the immeasurable scale that overwhelmed us. The Kibera slums in Nairobi are home to over 1 million people in a country whose unemployment rate sits nationally at 70%. This shock at the level of tragedy is leveled out by an equal shock at the joy that overflows from their warm embrace and their contagious optimism. Their pockets may be empty, but their hearts are full. For those of us who were attended, we concurred that we realized that our pockets are full, but our hearts are often empty. The immersion as a result became a two-way mirror of sorts. Meet James. James is a student at the Edmund Rice Centre in Nairobi, only one of 2 schools for students with special needs for over 1 million people, and the only school for families who cannot pay fees. In Kenya, if a child is born with a disability, many see it as a curse, and as a result, the family is shunned from the community, and often the mother is beaten as she is seen as the origin of the curse. The child with the disability is usually chained to the bed, in the dark, as the parents both need to leave their single-room shelter in the slums to seek any work of sustenance possible for the day. They cannot afford a carer or school for the child, so they are chained to the bed to keep them away from the dangers that lurk outside the door. They live fearful, without food and no access to toileting until their parents return at night. The rare public toilets in the slums do exist, but have been taken over by the local mafia. James is one of the lucky ones. His mother carries him for an hour and a half on her back until she reaches ERCN. Here he will receive his only food for the day, and I had the profound privilege to spoon feed him. As the beans and cabbage were spooned onto plates, the excitement was palpable. As his big brown eyes locked with mine, I could not help but feel that I was gazing into the face of God. This poor soul who clearly had suffered so much, had eyes that were full of hope and sparkled with fun like any child at lunchtime back in Australia. I watched the staff who were working with scrap materials, long days and teaching in metal shipping container classrooms in the Kenyan heat. Yet no words of complaint left their lips. The love they had for these children and their sense of vocation in serving the children before them rendered us silent. Towards the end of our visit to the ERCN, we went deep into the slum to visit one of the families that have a child enrolled in ERCN. Our guide led us through the twisted metal labyrinth as exposed wires sparked and black ooze meandered its way through open sewage and rubbish piles. Deformed chickens flailed in this muck, and local residents attempted to chop any food possible amidst what can only be described as the stuff of nightmares. After a sharp turn left into a dark tunnel, there appeared what might be described as a short cupboard door. In we stooped and were met by a mother who welcomed us with a warm embrace. The heat was intense, and the sound of groaning metal punctuated the conversation as shelter upon shelter wrestled for stability on top of one another. Our host invited us to sit on the bed which filled 90% of the floor space. This room was a home for 6 people. A camping single stove was squeezed between the end of the bed and the wall. That was the kitchen. A bucket to the right was the bathroom. Our host shared that if rent was a single minute late, the mafia would have them removed and the home given away. The mafia control access to water, electricity and housing. The police don't enter the slums, and the government turn their eyes away. This is a place of the lost and forgotten. Our host explained that if ERCN had transport to pick up the students, then she would not spend hours a day carrying her daughter on her back to get to and from the school, and then she could find work. It is insights such as these from people who do not appear on a data spreadsheet that exemplifies the reason behind our immersion.
On day 9 of our Into the Heart immersion with the Edmund Rice Foundation Australia, we found ourselves in Kenya, Uganda. There's a unique form of light there, and its name is Father Emma. This walking, talking shrine of hope leads many projects here, but in particular, he leads St. Joseph's Conseka Vocational Secondary School. Serving a community facing intergenerational trauma resulting from previous genocide and the ongoing impact of HIV, this school offers the only beacon of hope in a region facing almost 100% unemployment. At midday, the school community crammed into a classroom for Mass. We were rendered to tears at the palpable love expressed for God by all present. When pockets are empty and stomachs are empty, the hymns that are offered up stir the soul in ways that are beyond reckoning. The Mass was so beautiful and painfully humbling. I was blessed to have the opportunity to teach at a class at St. Joseph's, and I will forever carry the joy that emanated from those moments. The smiles on the students' faces were not just expressions of happiness, but symbols of resilience and of hope. In a place where challenges often outweigh opportunities, this simple act of teaching took on a sacred quality. It wasn't just about sharing knowledge. It was about planting seeds of possibility, of showing these young minds that they too have the power to shape their futures. The connection we shared was profound. Despite some language barriers, the classroom became a space filled with inspiration, where every smile felt like a light piercing through difficult circumstances. The school, which only just received electricity 6 months ago, stood as a testament to the spirit of determination and progress. This small victory, seemingly insignificant to some, transformed the way education was delivered in Kenya. Electricity meant more than lights. It signified opportunity. It enabled the use of essential resources that were once out of reach and opened doors to new possibilities for both students and teachers. To see the glow of light in the classroom reflected in the eyes of students was to witness the transformative power of hope in action. In the surrounding parish, there is another beacon of hope: coffee. In an area where people have few resources, the parish initiated a project giving those in need the opportunity to grow coffee crops. This simple gift has yielded more than just plants. It has brought dignity and renewed sense of purpose to families. The program offers a sustainable income, which each small crop yielding about $200 annually. This may seem modest, but it is life-changing for people here. The parish purchases and processes the coffee beans, ensuring that profits are reinvested into the program, allowing it to grow and reach more families. This initiative exemplifies the true meaning of empowerment, equipping people with the tools they need to sustain themselves while uplifting the entire community. For a school facing so many shadows, Father Emma is a spark that has ignited a Pentecost blaze, one that is unrelenting. His leadership, filled with vision, compassion, and an unshakable belief in the potential of every young person, is lighting the path forward. He understands that education is not just about academics. It is about nurturing the heart, mind, and soul of each student. His work and that of St. Joseph's embodies the spirit of Pentecost, a fire that once lit, spreads hope, ignites faith, and brings about transformative change. Every step he takes is a step towards a future where the youth of Manya are not defined by their challenges, but empowered by their dreams.
Amidst the sprawling industrial slums of Mukuru in Nairobi is an oasis of hope. Its name is the Reuben Centre. Courageously led by Christian brother Frank O'Shea, the Reuben Centre provides a primary school for 4,000 students that provides 2 meals a day, physiotherapy, counselling, a health clinic, birthing clinic, community radio, innovative urban farming to fight malnutrition, special needs programs, community building programs, and the list is genuinely endless. The ratio of innovation versus resources leaves you speechless. Teachers are teaching classes of 150 students and stand on a desk in the middle of the room so that all students can see them. Not one student loses focus as they live the reality that their learning journey will determine whether they are liberated from the slums and the generational poverty that is ever present. The love of learning makes way for the mass movement of a sea of students as they make their way with bowl in hand towards the sound of a reversing truck. This is the food truck which is arriving with what will be the only solid meal for the day for most of the 4,000 students. The scale of everything that the Reuben Centre seeks to accomplish is staggering. While this logistical marvel takes place, parents are filing into the early childhood health clinic. A queue extends out the door and snakes around behind the food truck. Inside, on every flat surface available, sits a young mother and toddlers and babies from the Mukuru slum. Behind 2 doors are bright, energetic, and hope-filled health workers who continue their ministry from dawn until dusk without complaint. Meters from here is the Reuben Centre Health Clinic and Birthing Centre. This tiny facility provides the only accessible, safe place to give birth in the slums and delivers more babies each year than the Mater Hospital in Brisbane. Mothers who are prenatal, giving birth and postnatal gather in one room as inspiring health workers carry out their vocation. In here, heaven and earth meet, and their work is that of the angels. One could not help but feel we were standing on holy ground. In an adjacent room, vials of blood are turning on a rusty rotator as they run tests to discern for tuberculosis, HIV, and many diseases that have evaporated from the Australian psyche, but remain very much a reality for the Kenyans. This vital facility is providing frontline care and runs on donations. Every shred of space in the Reuben Centre has been leveraged to provide a service for the local community. Experiments in urban farming lead the way in world innovation, as plants rich in iron grow in a rooftop garden bed. Their green foliage also helps feed the breeding of rabbits. The droppings of the rabbits then feed the aquaculture tanks below, which are further fertilized by the fish. This water is then used to fertilize and water the plants on top to provide a self-sustaining farm that occupies the space of an Australian TV set. At the end of this garden of miracles is what may be described as a tool shed. However, within are trays of decomposing organic matter.
These are used to breed black soldier flies, which are then caught, ground into a powder, and then fed back to the chickens and fish as part of the Reuben Centre's sustainable farm practice.
Amidst the laughter, the sound of 4,000 students in busy classrooms, and the cries of mothers giving birth, is the Reuben Centre radio station. From here, this radio station that operates 24 hours a day is perhaps the most powerful tool for social change and empowerment. Each segment is dedicated to the varying needs of the community. Public health strategies, crisis assistance, community building, budgeting, food security and education are all leveraged through this tiny but mighty instrument of change. Amidst all of this, one then hears an orchestra of primary students who are playing on donated instruments with heart-moving passion. Then enters champion gymnastics teams who without nets are performing routines that defy our less than elastic Australian ligaments. Despite the incomprehensible challenges that face human existence in Mukuru, the vision and determination of Brother Frank and his team of saints in our midst have defied the odds through a simple mantra that they live every day. We are called, we are gifted, we are sent.
Now that we are home, we are seeking your help. We are seeking assistance not for charity, but for development. The Edmund Rice Foundation Australia and their projects on the ground don't provide a handout, but a hand up. Through increased advocacy and fundraising, we can connect our networks and turn financial resourcing from a trickle to a flood in order to support these vital projects. In Matthew 25:40, Jesus says, "When you did it to the least of my family, you did it directly to me."
As we unveil opportunities to assist in the coming months, please answer our call as we continue our journey into the heart.